morning, everybody. Welcome to the day before Christmas. I'm Di Pearson, the Media Director for the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. I'd like to welcome you here this morning. We've had a weather briefing this morning. The second last one, we'll have one more on Boxing Day morning, a little update. So on our panel this morning at the far end we have Anthony Bell, owner skipper of Perpetual LOYAL, Jim Clark, owner of Comanche from the USA, Mark Richards, the reigning Lion's champion, skipper of Wild Oats 11, and David Witt, the sailing master for Ragamuffin 100. And joining us today also we have Ken Reid in our audience, Michael Logan from the Bureau of Meteorology, and they'll all be available for interviews after this press conference. So I think we'll start with Rico on what are your feelings on the latest forecast and how is it different from what we were hearing the other day, and what does it mean for Wild Oats 11?
I'm just glad it's not going to be like the other day's report, but anyway, it's look, I think Christy may be able to go, Jim, what do you think in this forecast? No pressure there, anyway. But look, it's looking like a lot more, easy forecast than they predicted a few days ago, and it's very much going to be almost a textbook Sydney Hobart. Beautiful nor'easter to start in, and a bit of a southerly front on the first evening, and just got to tough it out to the next morning, and then it's going to be a tricky sort of last half of the race. So it's it's going to be a challenging race for everyone, and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Rico. And Jim, I heard this morning they're talking about a bit more light air again. Did that make you cringe when you heard that bit of news?
Light air is not our friend. I think the very last bit of the race is supposed to be fairly light, so that'll be the challenging part.
Okay, and Anthony, what does it mean for you guys?
We're probably more comfortable with our chances, hearing about the stronger conditions for the entirety of the race a few days ago. I think Rico and I were saying to each other at the weather briefing this morning, there'll be a don't book up your tickets to the end sort of race again, and like I said, it's surviving the first night is going to be important for the big days particularly.
Yeah, that'll be a tough one, won't it, to do that first night, because that's when the toughest stuff's coming, isn't it?
Yeah, traditional racing normally is, but it is what it is, and you get what you get. So just got to stay in the race, I think.
Okay, so do you guys all obviously throttle back a little with the first night in mind, knowing that you've got the rest of the race to go, or are you going full steam ahead?
Well, our goal is to try and win it before the old boy can't do it again, and he's on for this race. So we're running out of races, so we can't throttle back.
So he's the oldest competitor in the race at 88, that's right, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, toughest man walking on the planet.
So I'm just going to open the floor to questions now. If you can just raise your hand and take it one at a time.
Mr. Clark, do you regret that you can't sail?
Do I regret what?
That you can't sail in the race?
Yeah, I do. I mean, my arthritic, I've got a lot of arthritic problems. My ankles due to a genetic defect, and up until maybe 5 years ago, I could have done it, but I've got a substitute if she wants.
Anyone else?
Mark?
Nick?
Mark, do you feel a bit more pressure this year given the amount of modifications the boats undergone? Do you feel like it's a bit of a improve for you? There's a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, look, I mean, the people and the teams around us, there's always a lot of pressure, and it's a Sydney Hobart race, and the cool thing about this race is I don't think anyone here knows who's going to win, and that's the great thing about the event. So we're just going to go out there and do what we do every other year, just do the best job we possibly can, and it's going to be all about doing a good job the first night and making sure we're still in the race the next morning. It's been plenty of times when boats haven't made the next morning, and so it's all about that first 24 hours and doing a good job. But just normal pressure, and it's exciting, so we're looking forward to it.
A lot of people who don't understand cabin flight can't believe it and chop the bow of a boat, sticking on the piece on, and not have it fall apart on the first big wave.
That's the beautiful thing about composites. You can do whatever you like, and what people don't understand, the actual joint is the strongest part of the whole operation. It's the only issue with joins is they end up a bit heavier than what you had there before. So there's absolutely no issues there at all. And this guy's been doing these boats and doing a great job for a long time. So we've got a lot of confidence there.
Anthony, can we expect maybe different approach this year after what happened on the first night last year?
Yeah, well, we're definitely nervous about the trip back. It took 24 hours to come home under motor last year. It was painful. It was. But I suppose, that's part of the luck of it. We've done a lot of reinforcement work when we brought the boat back after last year. The entire front, probably 15 foot of the boat was reset, and so we feel actually confident that there won't be a D-lane issue again. In saying that, there's heaps of other things to break, so we've got to keep an eye on that. But our chances, as Willie was saying before, we're going to be to keep safety in mind, but press the boat as hard as we can. So we're probably going to be tilting more towards that in this race.
Mark, I think you had to bring the boat out from the oil Christmas Day last year. What's the preparation for the like this?
Yeah, look, it's been an excellent preparation for us this year. And last year we had a few issues with a few bits and pieces, so which weren't repaired until Christmas Day. So we're out there sort of checking things on Christmas Day. But it's been a bit more relaxed this year, and whether that's a good sign or a bad sign, I'm not quite sure. But we'll see what happens.
Jim, in terms of the challenge, you're better positioned this year than you were last year to take on Australian yachts.
Yeah, well, last year we sailed for about 2 weeks. Anybody who's dealt with a new boat realizes, especially a new completely custom boat, you got a lot of tuning to do. We did a lot of that immediately afterwards, and then more recently we made some other mods that I think are improvements.
So Jim, can I just ask you, last year at the end of the race, you guys have made up the plans and said you could together and make it back for the race this year. What changed your mind?
This summer, we weren't planning to go, despite what Mark said. We were planning to come back, but then Rambler 88, my wife mentioned to me this summer that Rambler 88 was coming down here, and she said, suppose the conditions are such that they win the race. I said, okay, we're going back.
Anyone else? Shirley?
Good morning. I'm Shirley Robertson from CNN. Jim, a question for you. It's my first time being here for a whole race, and you really get a feel of what this race means to the Aussie public. You can see it in here today with some anchor cameras. And sitting next to you is the sweetheart boat of the Aussie public, and it feels like Comanche. Sorry, Willie. 8 wins. It's absolutely it's outstanding in any sport. So just really, how it feels to be like the big bad black boat coming here to steal the glory. I mean, what does it feel like to be in that position?
Feels pretty good. I'm not, different boats are built for different reasons. We built a boat that will go quite fast off the wind, and it's already been demonstrated. We set the record there, 24-hour record. And in fact, it's quite a good boat in 10, 12 knots of breeze as well. There's only a couple of points of sail in very light air that it starts becoming kind of a big fat lady. And the winded surface, if you're not heeled over in this boat, it's got a lot of drag. But as people saw last year at the start of the race, it's got some real get up and go if the wind is just right. And so obviously those kinds of conditions favor us, and that'll be the first bit of the race. Then we'll see. I mean, any light air is our enemy, especially if it's down around 2 knots. I think that'll be the big decision. I mean, the big governing factor in my mind is getting into light air. I believe now we had an imbalance problem last year. Most people know the boat should always, when you let go of the wheel, it should turn upwind. That's the safe thing. And ours didn't do that very well last year. So we immediately made some balance changes and corrected that. More recently made some other changes that made it even better. So now, I believe if we had the same boat that we have now last year, we would have gotten through that lull more quickly, and it would have been a better race for us. But we're real pleased with the boat. It's just a matter of, and I'm extraordinarily pleased with the crew. It's a great group of people. So if the conditions are right, I'll be pleased.
How good would it feel, Jim, so you spoil the Aussie party?
Oh, then, look, you know, we're half Aussie. Christy, I wouldn't otherwise be down here, honestly. I don't think I would have come last year because it's so bloody far. People don't realize how far away you are from the rest of the world. Most of the other big boat races are far away, which is probably part of the reason they don't ever take wild oats up in that part of the world. But that's where most of the big races are, and we have do all of those. It's a good 4-month excursion to get down here, counting shipping the boat, preparing, and then shipping it back. The next race we're going to be able to do is the Caribbean 600. And if it hadn't been for coming down here, which was my original plan, we would have done a couple more races in the rest of the world, in the northern hemisphere. But we're happy to be down here. I don't think I'll come back next year, no matter how we perform, because it's a lot of time, a lot of expense for one race. And, or sometimes two. This year we didn't have time to get here and make the Solus. But you know, I think the organizing committee needs to consider if they want more boats, international boats, to come down here. They need to put those races a little closer together. Because otherwise you have to keep, like last year I had a team of people here the whole month, the entire sailing team practically for the whole month. But that's asking a lot of people at Christmas time. So this year we just came down for this race. We'll see that.
Mark, everyone seems to agree something wide open race. Can you just explain to the casual observers what makes your arrival such a stretch individually?
Just that really, you know, it's all about the guys sailing the boats, you know. There's a lot of respect amongst all of us for all the other teams, and there's a lot of fantastic sailors in this big boat fleet, you know. It's best sailors in the world. You've got America's Cup winners, you've got Volvo winners. I mean, there's so many. You put the 4 crews together, the amount of world champions and America's Cup winners and stuff you have amongst all those guys, it's unbelievable. So, you know, the navigators, I mean, one thing Jim has got, you know, he's got one of the best navigators in the world, and Stan Honey, you know, he does an amazing job. We've got, you know, it's just the unknown. But you know, the cool thing is, looking at the ratings of these, you know, Comanche and Wild Oats, you can't get 2 more different boats. They virtually rate exactly the same, you know, which is really cool. And so, you know, it's just exciting, and it's the unknown. And we'll see what happens on Boxing Day.
Stating the obvious again, how important are the tactics? You know, like can you win and lose a race? One decision.
I'm just praying I don't have to say the same thing I said in last year's start. That's all. that thing was bloody impressive last year, I've got to say. It was awesome.
Jim, my suspicion given the forecast is that you'd like to put as much distance as you can between you and everybody else, and everybody else on that first 24 hours, to do as much space as possible in the size of the big silly, or is that how you...
I'm sorry, you're eating just a bit.
Am I being silly, or is that kind of how you...
No, yeah, just, your voice was, I need to higher volume.
Sorry. Just looking at the forecast, my suspicion is you ideally will want to put as much distance between yourself and the others as you can over the first 24 hours, so you've got as much room to play with it as it does start to lighten up. Is that how you're doing?
Well, I mean, we want to do it all hours, if possible. I mean, as much distance as we can between us and the other boats. I think everyone else does too. I think our favorite point of sale is the first 7 or until 7 o'clock in the evening or so. I understand the forecast, right? Of course, forecast could change, but I'm very comfortable with our speed upwind. It's just that off the wind, I think we've got a measure of extra speed. The only part that even down to 10 knots, I'm fine. 10 knots dead downwind, that's going to be tougher. But I think you're going to find that Comanche performs really well. You know, a lot of points of sail, a lot of wind conditions. It's just that when it gets down around 5 to 8 knots, we start getting stuck in the water. So that's really to me, the big unknown is how much light air we're going to have.
David, the question was put to Jim before about the prospect of knocking off an Aussie yacht, but for the Aussie contingent, do you get sick of watching the one next year celebrate every year with his crew winning light knots?
After a couple of rums on Tuesday night, he gave me a cuddle, and he said, "I love you, Woody." And I said, "Is that because I keep turning up every year and you beat me?" So I'm starting to wake up in the middle of the night. I'm absolutely sick of it, if that's the answer. Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't know what you can do. You can just do your best. But I mean, they're the best. They're the best offshore racing team we've seen in decades. You know, they've done what Rico and his team have done in the sport. I don't think matches probably any other sport. You know, I mean, 8 wins in a major offshore race. I don't know how you compare that to a soccer team or anything. I think it's a little bit underestimated actually what they've managed to do in quite a competitive sport. And full credit to them. That's why I think the old boy, when he found out Comanche was coming back and everyone was coming back, he was actually quite excited, because if you are going to win the Hobart race, this is definitely the year you want to win it, when all the best of the best are here for sure.
David, you mentioned about Sid. Can you just elaborate a bit more about what impact he's had on you and just his impact on the sport in Australia?
Well, I think along with probably Bob Oatley, I don't think there's a bigger icon in Australia for what he's done. This is his 48th Sydney to Hobart race at 88 years of age, still on the boat, still extremely passionate about the sport. He's in the yard every day talking to me about what we're doing. I think it's fantastic. He's still doing the race. I mean, people have difference of opinion, but if he's willing to go, I mean, you'd be mad not to take him. I think he's quite inspiring to everybody, especially when you get into a situation where some of the boys think it's all a bit hard and you've got an 88-year-old on board. I don't know too many 88-year-olds that are still driving the car, let alone doing a yacht race to Hobart. So I'm not sure how many he's got in him, hopefully a few more, but we'll see. But he's in very good health for an 88-year-old. He goes to the gym twice a week. Still lives alone. He has mellowed a bit though, which I'm very happy about.